Hello, viewers. Today, let us go towards the French literature like Guy de Maupassant. So, today I'm going to tell you about the theme of the one of the best short stories written by Guy de Maupassant, The Confession. The name of this short story is The Confession. In The Confession by Guy de Maupassant, we have the theme of commitment, regret, guilt, jealousy, loss, grief, forgiveness, and acceptance, taken from his the collected story collection. The story is narrated in the third person by an unnamed narrator, and after reading the story, the reader realizes that de Maupassant may be exploring the theme of commitment. For over 40 years, Margaret, one of the characters of this story, has lived with Susanna, and neither woman has ever married. Margaret has committed herself to stay by Susanna's side despite having had the opportunity to marry on several occasions. It also becomes clear to the reader that Margaret's decision to remain by Susanna's side is driven by the guilt of 12 she felt, by the guilt she felt for having killed Henry when she was a young girl of 12 years of age. Through jealousy, Margaret couldn't stand the thought of Susanna marrying Henry when she herself was very much in love with him. The fact that de Maupassant introduced jealousy onto the story may be important, as his intention may be twofold. Firstly, he may be highlighting how strong Margaret may have felt when confronted with the fact that the man she loved was marrying somebody else. And secondly, he may be highlighting the lengths that Margaret would go to ensure that Henry loved nobody but her. If anything, jealousy empowered Margaret and led her to kill Henry. Through guilt, she has spent the rest of her life by Susanna's side. Susanna's decision to also never marry cannot be underestimated, as it shows how much committed she is to Henry. Though she was not actually married to Henry, Susanna has taken on the role of a widow, such as are the intense feeling of love she felt for him. Her whole life has been dedicated to Henry, just as Margaret has dedicated her life to Susanna. Symbolically, the two swans who die after Margaret throws the remaining cakes in the pond may also be important. It is possible that just as the swans die, de Maupassant may also be suggesting that so too has Susanna's opportunity of marrying Henry. There is also a sense that both Margaret and Susanna have lived their life in a grief. Margaret because she regret her action of having killed Henry, and Susanna because she lost the man she had loved. Both women have never overcome the loss of Henry, though for different reasons. Margaret because Henry didn't love her, and Susanna because she again lost the man that she loved. It is also interesting that Susanna, rather than showing any anonymity towards Margaret for killing Henry, forgives Margaret for what she has done. This may be important as it shows that Susanna holds no bitterness towards her sister. Though Margaret is responsible for the direction that Susanna's life has taken, Susanna is able to forgive her sister, which in many ways highlights Susanna's love for Margaret. Again, she is not bitter, but rather she is compassionate towards Margaret. And as to whether Susanna would be as forgiving should be the circumstances have been different, and forgiving should be, and Margaret was not dying is difficult to say. However, there is a close bond, both sister, so it may be possible that Susanna might forgive Margaret regardless of her circumstances. That is also important to remember about Susanna's forgiving Margaret is the fact that she shows the ability to love again. Sometimes she has not been able to do since Henry's death. It is though she has come full circle, has found the capacity to love again. Susanna is fully aware of the pain that Margaret is in, not physically but emotionally and mentally too. As she is dying, it would have been easier for her to be bitter about what Margaret has done, but she takes the more difficult path of forgiving her sister for her action. What is also interesting about the end of the story is the fact that Susanna appeared to have not only found the ability to love again, but by forgiving Margaret, it is possible that Susanna is finally able to let go of Henry. No longer will we have the same pull on Susanna's emotion. Though Susanna has lost both a lover and sister, there is a sense that she is the ability to grow again for so many years, grieving the loss of Henry. She may very well, despite her age, blossom late in life now that she knows the truth about Henry's death. If anything, Susanna has the opportunity to accept everything that has happened and move on. Something that Margaret has never been able to do throughout her life. Since Henry's death, driven by guilt, she has remained by Susanna's side. It is only in death that Margaret is also able to let go of the past, though she has been assisted by Susanna's ability to forgive her. Margaret has spent her life consumed by guilt for her action, which were driven by the very human emotion of jealousy. Two women have suffered because they both loved the same man. De Maupassant possibly suggesting or highlighting the difficulties that come with love, how an individual can be overpowered emotionally by jealousy and end up spending their life ravaged with guilt. So this is the story, the confession by Guy de Maupassant, the story of two women. And I had just told you the theme of the story between the two sisters, the jealousy, the feeling of love, the feeling of regret. And this is the story I told you, the theme of which, the confession by Guy de Maupassant. I hope you will enjoy. Thank you very much.